folks, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In this video, we will be discussing a current affair topic presented to you by your faculty Sushma KP. So, what is the topic that it is we will be looking into today? It is about India and the multipolar West. Now, when I speak about multipolarity, it is not a very new concept. Already, we have had multipolar Asia, your north, south. So, what is this new factor about multipolar West and why now are we discussing? If you're someone who is interested to know about your local news, national news, international news, geopolitical news, don't forget to subscribe to Legacy IAS Academy channel, wherein we provide you deep analysis on all of these contents. Now, coming back to the topic. See, your world order as of now is shifting. What do I mean by the world order is shifting? See, as of now, the US, whenever we use the word USA, there is a lot of uncertainty surrounding it. Now, because of this, there is a lot of differences of opinion in the different parts of the world. Always your West, that is by when we say West, especially from your 1949 onwards, that is with the formation of NATO and all, there is something called as collective West, that is USA and its allied countries, which were always led by your US hegemony. Now, these people came together, the allies, that is your European, your Japan, Australia, New Zealand, as of now, okay, the members, they all came together in order to fight against the common cause or contain of your communism of USSR. So, traditionally, your West means your US and its leadership for its allies. But now, because of changing and very much the situations where the voice of US and the voice of Europe, okay, in this itself there are certain changes. Diverging opinions are beginning to exist, because of what creates something called as multipolar West. As of now, the West is a block, but within the West itself, there are different zones of power emerging. Understanding? The so called multipolar West, is it good for India or is it a risk for India? Truth be told, it is both a opportunity creating aspect as well as a challenge for India. Opportunity, why? See, if with raising Europe, understanding with its own again the same thing like how India claims for your sovereignty, when even your Europe has a stand, then it will be good for like-minded countries to exchange. But your rising, understanding US unpredictability, there is a fear what if it will downplay the leverage of the West. Understanding? So this is one of the things that we will see with respect to your multipolar West. So, like I mentioned, your multipolar West started with the concept of your Western unity under US leadership to contain your Soviet Union's communist ideologies. Now, with the 1991 collapse of USSR, it was hailed as a end of history, and your liberalism has won over all the other ideologies. So much so that even Russia was added in the G7 countries. But your Russia had criticized it needed more honored agreements. Understanding? So eventually what happened? Russia came out again because of differences, and also they did not react to the or agreements of your US dominance. That is one significance. Second thing is your China rose as a challenger. That is, your China wanted to move past from your Western dominance. Understanding? When China wanted to move away from Western dominance and your Russia is fighting against your US hegemony, then came this middle powers such as your India, which demanded multipolarity. Multipolarity as in many players will be there and not just one hegemon. But with regard to, if you see the present scenario, why now multipolar West is becoming a higher ordeal means because how your US is treating its allies and its adversaries. Most times it is held that US treats its allies even more harshly than its adversaries. And also it puts America first, and also protectionism is overly consistent. Now if you see with regard to what are the differences of opinion between your Europe, your US's western ally, and USA, it is on topic of Russia, China, with respect to trade, technology. And also your Europe is very much uneasy with the amount of unpredictability that is shown, especially with your Trump presidency. So many key players, and also there have been so many changes in the European state also. Understanding where Emmanuel Macron has held that your Europe has to become a powerful Europe. And also your Scholz has called for your Zeitenwade in defense. That is, we have to shift. That is, Europe has to have a firm standing. Your European Commission Chairman President Ursula von der Leyen has held that Europe must stand on its own and in its own feet with regard to defense, with regard to technology, understanding, with respect to strategic autonomy. So all this has brought about things which will move your Europe towards strategic autonomy. So what do we observe? There is clear divide in the ideologies. But your Europe also knows that it is not wanting to just move away from something. It is just trying to internally reposition itself. It knows about the economies of north and south, global north, global south, and also the differences between your west and east. They don't want to change alliances. They just want to regroup within the alliance. Understanding? So they are moving stronger towards your realignment within the same grouping. Alongside, if we see how is the global realignment happening, your US allies such as Japan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, all are adapting, wherein they are less dependent on US because US is becoming more unpredictable. And alongside this, your Europe is also expanding cooperations with your Canada, Japan, South Korea with respect to defense cooperations. And also they're trying to diversify trade with your Indo-Pacific countries, specific focus to Indo-Pacific countries and Latin American countries. And another important aspect with regarding to your European countries is they want to move away from the narrative that US has set and forced Europe also to follow. So which means in the recent EU joint communication of 2025, they have highlighted that India's success benefits EU, European Union, and European Union success benefits India with regard to what fields, trade, technology, defense, understanding. So they're telling that we have to be on the same lines with this. That is like-minded countries. With respect to your UK and your European Free Trade Agreement, also they have started new trade investment pacts, and also your UK Prime Minister is doing the visit to India. Now, before we continue with the topic, if you're someone who is interested in kickstarting a UPSC civil service journey, look no further. You have found the right spot with Legacy IAS Academy, where we maintain a batch size of 40 members per limit so as to provide you personalized and individual guidance. At Legacy IAS Academy, we also offer one-on-one mentorship, easy access to the educators, daily mains answer writing challenge, prelims series, and also your mock interviews. We also conduct our sessions in both offline as well as online mode. For those of you who want to see how the demo classes work, you can schedule a class in demo classes with offline or online mode. Now, coming back to the topic. How is India's diplomatic maneuver right now? That is, as of now, see, when China was rising, understanding it was rising to replace USA. So we found out that it is not very reliable or stable with China too. It just wants to replace the throne. It wants to become the king. So we are trying to stand our ground of strategic interests, autonomy, alongside a multipolar world. Understanding? And we are also reducing our over dependence on the US, especially the way how India has been dealing with all the tantrums that US has put itself indicates how much of a more of a, let's say, a diplomatic apt way that India is dealing with. Now, what are the challenges that could happen because of this? First is your fragmentation. That is, a collective response which would come from the West can get diluted. And also, When they themselves are very much diluted, the West becomes diluted, means it becomes difficult to handle China. Okay. So what are India's challenge with regarding to this? Domestic reforms are still slow, we have bureaucratic inertia. Okay, yes, India is still not having a good leverage at all the external opportunities, yes, but it is a progress that we are still following. See, in conclusion, if we have to say anything, US has to become or more of has to conform to the standards of diplomacy, and if it is calling itself as the global hegemon, then it has to be the global hegemon and not just do the protectionist tendency. So India's diplomacy must seize to the concepts of reforms, modernization, and active engagement. So the final message that we take home is we engage, we adapt, and we are with regarding to a multipolar West is a good option. At the same point from India has to be cautious. What could be a possible question from this? Discuss how the idea of multipolar West creates both opportunities and challenges for India's foreign policy. With this, we come to the end of the content. If you like our content, subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, share it along with your friends. Thank you.